Three main forces chiefly molded the world in which Christianity was established: the Jewish faith, Greek culture, and Roman power. The book of Acts talks about how the early Jewish Christians moved out of Israel and into Greek urban areas. Christianity got its start in Jewish culture but grew much faster in the Greco-Roman world until eventually it became a distinct religion from Judaism. But Jesus and his disciples were all Jewish, so their story is best understood in the context of Jewish culture, customs, and religious beliefs. They believed in the one God, Yahweh, and they followed the Shema. The Shema declares the oneness of Israel's God, Yahweh, and the exclusive worship of him. Jesus referred to the Shema as God's greatest commandment. Even Jesus' own name reflects the worship of Yahweh, as it means Yahweh is salvation. Many Jews at the time wondered why Yahweh would allow the Romans to oppress them and occupy their land. The command to worship Yahweh as the one true God was found in the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. The Torah describes the Mosaic covenant that God made with his people on Mount Sinai, and includes many laws that the ancient Israelites practiced. The Jews of Jesus' day still try to follow these laws. The 10 Commandments are a famous example of Mosaic law. The Torah also describes the covenant that God made with Abraham the patriarch, promising him land and descendants who would become the people and nation of Israel. Around 1000 BC, the Davidic dynasty was established in the Davidic Covenant, in which God promised that David's descendants would reign over Israel forever. The Torah says that Yahweh would have one place where sacrifices would be made to him. This location was established on Mount Zion, Jerusalem, by David's son Solomon, who built the temple. After the Babylonians destroyed Solomon's temple in 587 BC, a smaller temple was rebuilt there around 515 BC. Later, Herod the Great restored and enlarged it. This was the temple of Jesus' day during the Roman occupation. There are 4 main Jewish groups that you should know about during the time of Jesus. The Sadducees tended to be upper-class landowners who controlled the priesthood and temple. The Gospels often portray them as some of Jesus' primary adversaries. The Pharisees were highly educated in interpreting the Torah. They were the most respected teachers among the people according to Josephus. Not only did they study Torah, they also studied the oral traditions surrounding the Torah and followed many extra laws based on these traditions. The Essenes were somewhat of an extreme religious group. Much of what we know about them comes from the record they left in their desert settlement at Qumran by the Dead Sea. This group were basically Jewish monks who renounced marriage, followed strict rules, and held all their possessions in common. We have their active scribal tradition to thank for the Dead Sea Scrolls. The group at Qumran was probably started shortly after the Maccabean Revolution, when they were angered by the Hasmonean rulers usurping the priesthood. They believed in 2 messiahs, a priestly messiah from Aaron's line and another royal messiah from David's line who would rule over Israel. It's possible that the writer of the book of Hebrews was familiar with the Essenes, since he takes great care to show that Jesus is both a priestly and a kingly messiah. The writer also talks about Jesus being a priest in the order of Melchizedek. The Essenes were very interested in this minor character who only appears briefly in Genesis and is mentioned in one of the Psalms. Zealots were devoted to Jewish religious and political freedom and were heavily involved in politics, with one of their main goals being kicking the Romans out of the land. They started several armed rebellions for more than 100 years, including the Jewish War against Rome from AD 66 to 73, which ended in the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. There's also a 5th subgroup that you should know about during this time. The Samaritans were Jews who lived in the area between Galilee and Judea. Their name comes from the name of the former capital city of the northern kingdom of Israel, Samaria. Many Jews consider them inferior due to their mixed ancestry. The Samaritans also considered Mount Gerizim to be greater than Mount Zion, and said that God should be worshipped in the temple there. When the Hasmonean king John Hyrcanus invaded Samaria in 108 BC, he destroyed the Samaritan temple. The Samaritans also only followed the Torah, and disregarded the prophets and the writings of the Jewish canon, so the Jews viewed them as basically a Gentile cult.